Hey guys, welcome to Season 3 of Dungeons & Dragons, playing with viewers and fans of the channel. I'm FilthyRobot, of course. Left to right on the overlay, we have our new Dungeon Master, Zygon. We have myself, then JoINrbs, then Xilo, and then Rikytan. We're going to be starting a new campaign in Dungeons & Dragons, starting at level 5. New world, fresh characters, this type of thing. The expectation is this is going to go on for a while. So hopefully, I know we've done a lot of one-offs recently on the channel, but hopefully this one is going to be the start of something a little bit more consistent. So I think we're going to do just a round of intros and then kind of hear the start of what's going on with the world. So how do you want to start this, Zygon?
Okay, so the general story to start here is that you guys are in a guild called the Bracers, that basically they're kind of a global mercenary for hire that is just completely separate from any government or any kingdoms, and they're just kind of a neutral party that is usually sent to investigate and take care of things neutrally. So that's where we're going to start today.
Okay. Should we do a round of just real brief introductions with D&D characters? Just name, essentially, and any little tiny thing you want to add. I think these characters will be developed as we play them more, but just what do you want to tell the audience about your character just to start with? And let's start with Ricky.
Hey. So, my character is named Belorin Strifeminer. He's a Hill Dwarf Cleric, level 5. He's ginger, as me. He has a fully grown beard, and there is one special feature on him is that he has eye patch over his left eye, and you can see even that is the part of his eye is burdened, and there is a scar in the form of lightning over the eye. So we will get to that later, what is happening with that. And
was he drinking in the rain? All right, get to it later. Got it.
Okay. About it later.
All right, Xilo?
So the character I'm going to be playing is a Dwarf Wizard named Flint Frostbeard, and he's also a dwarf. He's a wizard because even though dwarven smiths and all them make really good arms and armor, you only have so much potential of just arms and armor, and so there's a group of dwarves that focus on magic just for the purpose of trying to make as strong weapons and armor as possible. And at some point he read about some kind of spell forge, some ancient text mentioning some sort of spell forge. So even though he's a rather old dwarf wizard, he's kind of wandering on his own looking for this looking for traces of this, and so now he's ended up with this guild, and we'll see where things go from here.
Okay. What about you, Steve?
I am Fang, a half-elf monk hermit who has come down from his mountain abode to scowl upon common magic users, which all three members of the rest of the party happen to be. My order of monks have learned how to channel magic in its purest form.
Via what?
Sitting around on a mountain for a very long time.
Gotcha. So you
No,
just gotta absorb that from the universe.
Our dungeon master can explain a little bit better.
Yeah, once we get started, I'll explain. There's a aspect of the world building, but I wanted to get through this first.
Okay. And I am playing Bard, a half-elf Bard, called Fin Longwinned, and we'll be seeing what I think about the Bard class. I'm kind of excited to play a pure caster for the first time. I'm kind of excited to see what a character with some skills outside of combat looks like, since we've had a lot of combat experiences in our last couple playthroughs. I'm wondering if it will be nice to be able to talk to someone without instantly getting them pissed off and willing to kill us. So I'm not promising that will happen, but I'm excited about the possibilities of what could happen with this.
Wishful thinking.
I'm playing a charlatan background, which means in part that my character is focused very much on money, scheming, lying, cheating, stealing, and the other things that I much enjoy in this world. So we're going to see quite what that turns out to be as well. So I'm looking forward to it. Want to take it away, Zygon?
All right. So this specific mission that your group is on, and you're a pre-established group, how that happened, maybe there was nobody else around at the time, and you were just like, oh, well, I guess I'll have to be with these three casters.
I think that seems realistic. That seems to me like a very good way that we met. It was desperate times. We really wanted to make some money. There was a really sweet job on the offer from this guild, and these were the only fucking schmucks available, and we've just been stuck with them ever since. I like that.
Yep. So the mission that you were put on today, or well, in the last couple weeks, is that there was an anomaly detected in the middle of the desert near an old known tribe that resides in the old Kyrim here. And this was a bounty that was put out by the northern city of Kai Shakir, and they provided a guide for you. And you've just, for the last couple of weeks, you've been traversing, getting closer and closer, and now you're about to head into some dangerous territory.
You said near an old gnome tribe?
Old Kyrim. It's this area right here.
Okay.
That's where the people who like have ordered this are from, right? That's not where we're from.
That's where the anomaly was detected.
Gotcha.
That you're investigating.
Do we have more information about what this anomaly is?
So it's that's a good segue into the world building I was talking about. So in this world, magic is kind of a particle of matter called a phonon, and wizards and other arcane spellcasters can manipulate that into their spells. And then people who get that from their gods manipulate those phonons into the spells that they can cast as well. So where Steve or Fang gets into this is that since phonons are actually all around the world because it's part of creation, he harnesses them naturally, and that's what gives him his buff as an elemental monk. Okay. And so the anomaly that was found here was that there is a large excess of red phonons, which is pretty bad news because, that's fire and earth, is somewhere in this area. And that could be a weapon of mass destruction, or it could be some sort of global event that could be worse, and you're here to investigate what it is.
Okay. And this guild that we're a part of, the Bracers, what type of guild is it? What type of motivations do they have? Why do they want us to find us?
So the main motivation of the Bracers is to almost be kind of like an outside neutral force for all kingdoms. Like, let's say there's two kingdoms and they're fighting for some reason over something. The Bracers can investigate something neutrally. So, like, it's kind of just it's a reputable guild that won't manipulate results, basically. It's kind of a task force.
But they've let us in, so they can't be too upscale and too, kind of on the straight and narrow.
Right. So they're not technically aligned good. It's just that it's basically a global mercenary guild that as long as you follow their guidelines, that's all that matters to them.
So the Bracers' main motivation is being paid, and in doing so, keeping a reputation of being neutral is part of that.
Right, basically. Okay. Like they're not trying to be the global police. They're just like filling a need of a neutral party.
Okay.
Gotcha.
And we've as a group worked together many times before, a few times before. This is our first time?
We'll say a few times before. Okay. So being level 5, I would say maybe you met at level 2 or 3 and you've been on 2 or 3 adventures before together.
Okay. All right, that's pretty cool. So where are we starting off? What's the environment going to be today?
All right, so you are camping for the night. And I'll just go ahead and say this now for everyone. I am new to Roll20, so it might take some time for things.
And I gotta say, just for everyone as well, that I think Roll20 is a great system to play for D&D, but I don't actually give a shit too much about that, because I actually think the more important part is the story that's happening and the interactions with that. So I'm glad that you're learning it, Zygon. I'm glad you're willing to take that on, but it's not that important if it's not perfect. So don't fret about it.
All right. So you are gathering around your campfire that you have put out for the night. Now this climate is Sahara, so it's very hot during the day and then very cold during the night. So you're gathering around for warmth while your guide, whose name is Aiden, he is a kind of grizzled human who's pretty happy-go-lucky. He really loves nature, you've noticed, and he seems to be doing this for just kind of the exploration. Maybe this is something he hasn't seen before, or he just wants to have first-hand experience with. But you guys have been traveling on camels this far. If that continues, it's up to you. And you're about 1 day away from where he says he is expecting this tribe to be.
And so this whole time we've been traveling during the day, I assume?
Yes. So
okay.
This area in general that's coming up, and we can talk about this in character in a moment. I'm just giving you a full...
Mm-hmm.
All right. So let's get started.
So have we been traveling north or south? Like I saw the
South.
map. Okay, cool. So we were from that northern city and we were going down to that anomaly. Right, okay.
Are we in a part of the world where traveling south right now is getting hotter? Are we approaching it quickly?
Yes. Okay. Yes.
I just want to add one note that my cleric has domain Tempest, and he's devoted to the god Jupiter. Just for the future notes.
Yep. So while we're continuing out of character here, this world is altered Roman gods.
Okay.
So, all right. And with that, let's get started.
I suppose we would just rest and...
So right now, you are gathering around the campfire with Aiden, and he is saying that, okay, so we are about 1.5 days travel from this possible tribe. Now their tribe shifts with as the sand dunes gather and they move their buildings, so we don't know exactly where they're located. We're going to have to find them.
And do we have some reason to think that they know something about this anomaly? Why do we care about finding them?
So they are either the source of the anomaly, or they are close enough that they should know something about it.
What do you know about this tribe?
Well, they are the only remaining civilized tribe in the area. They are a group of tieflings that have, for the most part, not gone with normal civilization. So they're kind of nomadic. They move around a lot, and they are very traditional. That's all I know. But I do know that this area coming up, thanks to the heat and thanks to the threats of monsters, most notably the Yuan-Ti are in the area, that it's going to be very dangerous to have a full camp set up from here on out.
So this out of character, this guide here, was he provided to us by our guild, or did we as a party acquire him from like a local city or something like that?
He was provided by the city that gave the mission.
Okay, so basically a city said, hey, we found this disturbance. They contacted this guild, the Guild of Bracers, and the Bracers have assigned us to go determine what this is, and the city has provided this individual for our purposes. Okay.
Yes.
Still, though, what else about this anomaly do we know about it so far? Like, what sort of symptoms have sort of cropped up because of it?
So something you guys would know, just a universal thing, is that, and this is going to be a combat mechanic as well, is that when phonons gather, they become visible. So they kind of concentrate themselves in an area, and they can be harnessed for destructive effects.
Okay.
So you know that if there is a concentration of phonons that is large enough to be detected by tools of nearby cities, any magical tools, which just in general people would have, because this is something that people need to be careful of. Like, weapons of mass destruction could be made with phonons if someone wanted to. So this is something that I would say it's a kind of common investigation, like, oh, go see what the source of this is. But at the same time, it could be disturbing. Like, it could be something.
And is this something
major
that, from our knowledge, would impact the way spellcasting would work? For example, this sounds like if our spells are made of this substance or this material, and there's a greater concentration of that here, does this mean that our spells are going to behave differently in some way? Are they going to be stronger or more wild, or trend in a certain type of element? Like, what does that actually mean from our experience in this world?
Sure, let's go ahead and go over that. So I'm going to drag stuff on the map just for sake of reference. So in combat, mostly, but also out of combat, of course, when a spell of particular elements, and most, if not all, categories of damage are in one of 5 categories, when a spell connects with something, whether it be anything at all, it will gather phonons there, and it will be visible on the ground. And there's 2 stages of this. There's just a half power stage where you can see it there, but it doesn't do anything. And then if you concentrate more, it becomes potent, and it can be absorbed for various effects. So those effects are, so if you use any sort of and this is something that as fighters in general you would know how to do. This is part of your proficiency with your weapons, how to use this. Is that if you're standing in a circle, and we'll use this circle as an example. If you're standing in this circle, you can choose to absorb these blue phonons to do additional ice damage on any ranged or melee attack. Or if you cast a spell that is using blue phonons or would gather or blue phonons in any way, you can use it for 1 spell slot less. So if you had a level 3 fireball and you used it in a red phonon field, then you could cast it for a 2nd spell slot.
So there's essentially a phonon color roughly equated to each of the damage types of a spell? Or is it each of the schools of the spell?
It's each of the damage type. It's based off the damage attribute.
How does that interact with my key?
So you, on just a normal basis, you already know, just the trace amount of phonons, you know how to use that naturally. You using your ability, you always have the -1. But if you use, say, I believe you took Water Whip in this blue field of phonon, you could use that for free.
Okay, so I can get double -1. And then using it for free would consume the phonons, right?
So whenever anyone uses it for anything, it gets consumed. It's gone.
Okay, so this is basically just literally an overabundance of whatever we use to fuel our magic in the environment.
Right.
Okay.
And the last rule I haven't mentioned yet is that, let's say someone casts a firebolt, and this is a 50% right here. If someone then casts something that is a different color than that, anywhere between 20 feet of it, within 20 feet of the radius of this, they both disappear. They both are gone because they cancel each other out, basically. So that's going to be a layer of strategy for you guys going forward.
All right.
Interesting.
Well, Aiden, this tribe of tieflings, what can you tell us about them? Have you interacted with them before? Are they friendly? Are they hostile? What do they value? What can we offer them? What do they trade?
Well, they are very friendly. They just like to be very traditional, pass down their stories, and continue to live amongst themselves. I'm guessing that if we go to this tribe talking about this anomaly, they will know about it and they will assist us in stopping it. Because if it's something that could be used for destruction, that would change their way of life.
Oh, that's good to know we're not walking into a fight then.
Well, unfortunately, I haven't actually been with them in contact with them before, so I'm not 100% sure, but that's what I've heard.
What other creatures could we expect in this area?
So, talking strategy-wise, if we go by day for the rest of the travel, we can expect creatures that thrive on the heat or just don't care about the heat at all. Or if we go at night, we can expect the creatures that are vulnerable to the heat to come out to hunt for their prey.
And this is a little bit of distance now between the city of Kaishaken?
Kaishaken is where you guys came from. That's where you meant
that's
to
what I'm saying. This is
yes, absolutely. You guys have been traveling for about 2 weeks now.
Okay, so, and I'm asking then again in character to the guide, but also I guess this is slightly out of character because I'm not really sure of this geography. Are we pretty far from all cities then if we moved away from Kaishaken and we're moving south? This is 2 weeks south of civilization then.
Right, so let me go back to the map. So if we... I'll go ahead and draw as well. So you guys
we can't
started...
see it if you brought us there. We're still on the other page.
Yeah, gotcha.
Okay.
All right. So this is where you met the guide. You traveled south, avoiding this city because these guys are quite hostile. You didn't want to alert them to your presence. You traveled down this river, and then you traveled to here, this Karavasha, to rest, to resupply, etc.
Okay.
And so you've been a couple of days out from that oasis city.
All right.
So like 3 days travel?
Yeah, about
roughly?
3 days.
Okay.
Okay. So I want to ask our guide about the creatures of this area. What type of things are we worried about in this area?
The thing we're most worried about would be the Yuan-ti. They're extremely, extremely hostile. They believe that this is their land, and anybody they find in there will be killed on sight.
What is a Yuan-ti?
It is a man that is half snake.
Okay.
How much of Yuan-ti, like, because I have a bunch of knowledge of like history and stuff, how much about Yuan-ti would my character know?
So roll me a history roll.
Did you mean to roll with an advantage?
No, but the first one is...
We'll take the first.
Yeah.
That's fine. All right. So you know in general that Yuan-ti are mostly... They reside in deserts because of their reptile nature. They greatly enjoy the increased heat and the dryness. They don't like moisture. You would know that in general they're cold-blooded, and that they generally go around preying on anything they can get their hands on. So they're very territorial.
And they're very intelligent, or are they beast-like?
Yes. So they are intelligent humanoid creatures that are some sort of hybrid between snake and man.
With some sort of their own society.
Right, and you would know that they were originally artificially created. So they were a creation of some wizard, but they were given the ability to reproduce, and so this desert
Took off
continent.
on their own.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
pretty much.
Do they like live underground during the? Do they have like a city down here somewhere? Are they nomads?
I would say that with the 24, you would know that they are also nomadic, but they would have one big city that they come back to. Anything they find, they bring back to one city. But they have various clans that are nomadic in that they patrol around the desert.
Gotcha. Okay. And generally speaking, we don't have any idea where that one city might be.
Well, from what your guide would say in character, he would say that it's very likely to be in the west part of Old Kyrim.
Okay. And can we, I'm making some assumptions here just based on thinking cold-blooded here. It seems like if we're in an environment where it gets extremely cold at night, cold-blooded creatures are going to have a disadvantage at night relative to day. So Okay, so we may wish to, if these are the major threat of this region, we may wish to try to travel at a time that they're going to be weakest, and
At night.
and try
Definitely.
to avoid them during the day with some sort of hidden camp or something for us.
Yeah, and Iden nods as you say this. He says, yes, that's correct. I think the biggest threat of traveling at night would be sight. Like, there are still normal creatures that we could run into, and this is still a dangerous general area. But as long as we keep our wits about us, I think that's the best option.
What race is Zygon?
He is a human.
Okay. Well, all of us look down on him slightly for not being able to see in the dark. We don't say this directly to him, but
There are many indirect cues of, oh, that poor schmuck.
scared of the dark. Doesn't he know? Doesn't he know? All right. So what time of day is it? We're at camp. If we just slept, we just woken up, or are we setting?
You're about to sleep, so you guys are eating right now.
And it's
so.
What time of day?
I would say it's about 8 p.m.
So we are thinking of flipping our schedule then.
Yep. So
Nice.
you guys, I would say probably woke up at about 7 o'clock in the morning to beat the heat a little bit, get some travel before it got too hot.
Okay, so we've been up for about a little over 12 hours.
Yeah.
Okay.
So short rest, and then start traveling as soon as the sun goes down.
Again, I think it is time that we change our travel pattern. We're approaching a very dangerous area, it sounds like, and I think I don't know. I look to Fang and I look to Belorin and I say, it sounds like Flint and I have agreed that Flint and I are on the same page. We think that travel by night would be safest. Do the two of you have any difference in opinion?
I second that.
I thought we were traveling during day because you guys wanted to. I was confused the entire time. Sounds like a much better idea.
All right. Then
Glad we worked that out.
all right, so maybe we get a couple more. We try to get some. Maybe we start transitioning from that day schedule to that night schedule tonight, and we try to get a little bit of travel in tonight. Push it a little bit further. Maybe we call it a little maybe we finish a little bit earlier than we really want to tonight, but we start transitioning for that time period.
Iden looks down nervously and he says, "Okay, I think that is best, but your eyes are much better than mine. I'm going to have to trust you. Please
We will
please
alert you
point
if anything
anything
we
out."
see. Yes, absolutely, Again, we will keep watch for you.
All right. Okay, so you guys have some slightly sleepy camels that you can use if you like. And that's how you've been traveling so far.
I
They're
named my
a
camel
single.
Fang.
It's a single one-humped camel with a really strange-looking saddle, but you've gotten used to it by now. So it's been about 2 weeks of adjustment on that.
Easy, Fang, easy, I say. Perfect. All right.
I would like to ask something, our guide, that you told us that this is a nomadic tiefling tribe and they move from place to place.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a way to find them? Because they can be anywhere in the old Kiram.
Yeah, he grimaces a bit and he says, "That's unfortunately the problem. The main downside to traveling at night is that while your eyes are better than mine, during the day we can see much farther, and during at night it's going to take a little more searching."
But surely nomads have patterns like anyone else. They will be where the environment is best suited to sustain them.
Absolutely. So from what I've heard, the sandstorms are worse inside craters of giant sand hills. And so whenever the sand starts to pile around them, they move to a different dune. And so if we look for their tribe on top of one of these dunes, they would most likely be there.
All right.
Okay.
They don't have any reason to hide at night other than just avoiding general creatures, right?
I also want elaboration on that. I'm curious about the strength of these tribes compared to the strength of these snakemen, these Yuan-ti.
Yuan-ti.
Yeah. So are they are they living in some sort of uneasy coexistence, or are they one strong enough that the other hides from the alternative, or what is that kind of interaction?
We don't know for sure, but we know that both have survived.
Okay.
Hmm.
All right, so we don't actually know anything
Interesting.
about their interaction. That's interesting.
Nope.
All right. Well, I guess we're gonna get moving. We saddle up these camels.
All right.
Well, we've been traveling all day, so it would be like a short rest, and then.
Yeah, we stopped
Yeah.
for dinner.
Yeah.
I think we took a
But we just did that. Gotcha. Okay.
Pretty much.
All right. Onward.
All right, so you guys get on your camels and you start continuing south. And immediately, you guys waited until it started getting dark, because that's the best way to adjust your schedule.
Mhm.
And the timing was pretty good on that anyways. And so now we're going to be using your dark vision. I think everyone here has 60?
yeah.
Yep.
60 feet?
I do, yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So, what is a general formation you guys are going to be using? So you are
Well, are
5,
we-
including Aiden.
Are we moving in some sort? We are now essentially in combat situations, so we're trying to be as stealthy as possible style thing, or is this just our general traveling order you're asking?
This will be general traveling.
We all have camels, right?
Yes.
Mm.
Okay.
I don't think it makes that big of a difference then
I
for all
think it would be
camels.
pretty fluid. I think honestly, if we're not in the situation where we're worried about imminent danger, I think we'd be fairly fluid in our positioning. You know, kind of riding two abreast with whoever wants to chat at that time, style thing.
Okay. All right. Everyone, give me an active perception check.
Okay.
Okay. So some of you are sleepier than others. It may be the stew, it may be the cold, but the only one who seems to be fully on their feet here is Finn, who in the front of the herd of camels, patting his fang.
Easy,
Sure.
Fang, easy. We'll make it through this, boy.
You see about 60 feet at the edge of your dark vision, there is some crystalline sand that is different colored and has some sort of shining material in it.
Does this mean anything to me outside of just the description you've given? Is it weird that you're pointing out, or is it mean something above and beyond weird?
It's something that you haven't seen before. Like you haven't seen this kind of sand in this desert.
All right, let's do this real quick. All right, so I'm riding beside Belorin, and I point it out to him, and I say, "Wow, that's kind of strange. I've never seen sand quite like this. Look at that structure. It's almost mathematical. Have you seen anything like this, Belorin?" And I point it out to him.
Do I?
Do you what?
Roll me.
If I know something about it.
Roll me a knowledge check. What do you want to? Nature, survival. What do you want to roll?
It's like crystallized. I would say Arcana.
Okay.
I think it's magic related. Okay.
Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, try it.
Yeah, you don't know. So as you try to think to yourself, is this some sort of fawn stone, which is a stone of phonons? It's just kind of it's the physical form of a concentration, and it might be, but I'm not quite sure. It doesn't seem magical in nature to you.
I'm not sure about that, Finn. It's indeed peculiar, but I don't have much idea what this is exactly.
Well, I mean, I know everything's a little strange out here. I didn't grow up in a desert, and it's a bit weird. But maybe we take just a little bit more of a closer look. Can we afford a few minutes detour? I actually raise my voice a little bit, not much. I'm not shouting, but I make myself heard to the camels behind us, and I say, "There's some interesting land over there. It looks a little strange. Potentially, maybe something to do with this anomaly. Should we take a few minutes to take a look?"
And
I mean,
they're
if it's-
riders too, yeah?
Yes,
Riders?
to the people riding the camels behind them.
Not just the camels.
Oh, you meant I was
say-
talking to you guys? No, I'm talking to Fang mostly, not you, Fang. The other Fang, my camel Fang. This is
Right.
actually meant only to him.
Yep. Obviously.
Well, it's in our path
Right.
though, right? So like at some
yeah,
point. we're
this
gonna-
is in your path. This was directly in front of you.
Okay.
And
Right.
as
Oh, doubly
as you
so
go
then.
forward.
Then I actually changed what I said. I'm sorry. I got this impression it was off to the side, not directly in our path. Then I particularly want to point that out as the terrain is changing and we should investigate this because we're going to be riding through something that's totally different than anything I've had experience with.
Yeah, and Aiden, as soon as he hears this, he says, "What is it? What do you see?" And he tries to jolt his camel up closer to you.
I describe exactly what I've seen to him: the crystalline structure, the weird patterns, etc.
Okay. He tells everyone, stop. Everyone stop.
Okay.
And then
Whoa,
so-
Fang, whoa! I say.
yeah, he
What's going
slows
on?
he slows his camel to a stop and just gently gets off and he says, "So crystalline sand is generally the sleeping habitat of a particular predator during the day. It is have you ever heard of an antlion?"
No.
Heard of ants and I've heard of lions.
He kind of rolls his eyes a little bit and he says, "Well, these are beasts that live in the sand day and night, but during the day they cause a crater for prey to slip into, and if disturbed, they could have a similar trap for our camels, and we need to be very careful in this area. So we need to either
How dangerous
We-
are antlions? What are the size of these creatures? Are they something that for humanoids of our stature should be worried about, or just we might lose one of our camels to a stray bite or something?
Yeah, he nods and he says, individually, they're not a huge threat to warriors such as yourselves. However, if we lose a camel, then that would be a much bigger problem.
Okay, so they're not like Return of the Jedi, like swallowing up people like nobody's business. They're small.
They're large, but they're not ginormous.
Okay.
Okay. And these squares these are the crystalline structures we see on the sand.
Yes. So you guys are going to be right about here. And so he's saying that we need to either find a path, and I should have done a fog of war. You can't see all this, but you need to either find a safe path through or make one with blood.
Okay. So they kill the critters or move around them.
Yep.
All right. Well, and I'm going to assume just for the sake of the story, but I guess I can clarify right here. Our path, the road kind of goes. The path we're taking is just kind of straight through.
Yeah. So exactly. So you guys came from this direction, and then these are the two that you saw that you were investigating, and then by the time you guys stopped, was right about here.
Okay, I see. So we've moved through to an. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I mean, it seems a relatively simple course of action. I confer with the others. Looks like we just are going to try to avoid these crystalline patches and do our best to stay alert.
All right.
Does anyone have any extra thoughts? Fang, I say.
Are their
I'll cut
hides
you off and
worth
say, no,
much,
talking to
or
a camel.
are
Are
their
their
hides
hides-
worth anything? Is there anything particularly valuable that we could get from these creatures?
Roll me a nature roll.
An int roll?
A nature roll.
A nature.
Which,
Sorry, I
which
misheard.
would be just int if you don't have nature. So you would know that in a monster slaying guild, their hide would be worth quite a bit for armor's sake.
Really? Do I know this too?
Roll nature.
I can tell you,
Do
or you
tell
could
me?
ask your
Do you
camel.
want to share?
Or you could ask your camel.
I don't know. I don't know shit about this apparently. So if you have the information, want to volunteer it?
All right. I would like to volunteer that antlions are quite valuable for their hides in making armor. I know we're in a desert environment. Maybe we could get some use out of those. Or we could bring them home with us and become wealthy.
My ears perk up. I'm kind of been slumped on the camel riding along. You say we could become wealthy. I kind of like, tell me more. And so when you tell me this, I'm like, you bring up a fascinating point. I mean, if at the very least, here we are in the path of danger. We've been sleepily traveling for weeks now with no real action. Maybe it's time we woke up a little bit, killed a couple antlions, got their hides.
Okay, I feel like this is a really good time to ask clarification on what we have been agreed to be paid for this whole, like, investigate the thing. Because if like, this 2-week-long excursion is resulting in us getting, like, thousands and thousands of gold, then that could have us not investigate.
Right, exactly. How proportionally relevant is the extra bonus of a small amount of...
Don't we have, like, a dwarven magical smith with us?
Yes.
I feel like the hides could just be useful right now. We're in a desert, like we don't want to be wearing metal plate and stuff. I don't know, but you guys do.
We do, and I assumed that my character would know that without even rolling, and I'm not doing anything or saying anything about it.
Yeah, as soon as someone mentions hide for armor, you can roll me nature at advantage to see if you know the specific technique, but as an armor smith, you immediately know, oh, that sounds interesting. Maybe I can do something with that.
I like that.
Oh, I'm proficient in, like, the smith tools, so...
Yeah, both of you guys roll in. Let us know. What can we do with these antlions? Also, do we know anything more about antlions, any of us?
You know that I would say just in general, and that Aiden would volunteer this as part of his explanation of how they work, like what their general nature is that generally what they do is they trap people or not people, but they trap creatures in their pit, make it a real hard time to get out, and then once they get in deep enough, they latch onto them and bite them until they die with giant mandibles.
Is it a poison-based killing, like a kind of like spider in the web style thing, or is this more of a just physical, like decapitation style, like bite your head off style thing? What are we talking here?
It's more of, it does have poison, but it's more based off of just the sheer force of its jaws.
So like crocodile just chewing on you until you're dead.
Yeah, and let me roll to see how much he knows in general about this. He says that he knows they're poisonous, but he doesn't know anything beyond that.
Okay, but once again, need to clarify, what is the sort of, how much are we getting paid for this entire excursion?
Right.
That's very, very, very relevant.
So between the four of you, it is thousands of gold. I would say you're probably going to walk away from this with somewhere between 500 and like 700 gold
each.
Yep.
Okay. And the other part of that question that's relevant then is, what is antlion armor worth?
Well, for 24, I would say that in general it's about equal to half plate, but it has capabilities of being lighter, and so less disadvantage in a stealth situation.
Huh. So this is actually pretty good stuff then.
Good.
Well, I know we're out here for a job, but avoiding these might take extra hours, maybe even days.
5 minutes, yeah.
Finn,
I don't.
Finn. Mate, I understand
for one,
that you are excited, but our priority is to get to our
Belorin, I only think of the safety of the group. We do not want to lose a camel to this while we're out in this environment.
That's why
that
we
could be
shouldn't
death
do anything
for an individual.
dangerous. So we should cross this carefully.
But I mean, I look and I point to the edge of the sand. Here it's clearly crystalline, but look at the border between where the pit ends and the regular sand begins. Here it's partially crystalline, a little crystalline. It's hard to tell. We could be walking into our doom, walking into a camel's death. Fang could die here. If we
get one shot by an eyeball or something.
Belorin just looks.
Not
at
you,
Fang
my
like...
camel. We could lose the camel if we walk through this area. We need to safety first. We need to kill these.
Did you just say one shot by an eyeball? Too soon.
Yeah.
Too soon.
Yeah, I said that.
No one knows what you're talking about. They're
Yeah.
just, what?
The old episode. Alright, so who wants to go sand swimming for some new armor?
I do. And by
Well-
I mean you, and I point directly at Belorin.
All right.
I don't wear armor, but
You don't wear
Well,
it's been a
armor.
while since I trained my abilities.
Belorin isn't interested, so if you want to do it yourself.
I
You're
think
about to be surrounded by Antlions, Belorin. You might get
that's a
involved.
good question. That's a good question. Are they like communal or are they completely individual? So that like if we disturbed one of them, would all of them be like, "Oh, this is a problem," and they would all like attack us or something? They're not moving, right? So it would be assumed that
Sounds
they're
like
not
they're like
communal.
what do they call them? The trap
Right
hunters,
now-
whatever.
Right now they're sleeping, so it's hard to say right now. But yeah, it seems that for the most part they are in some sort of herd because that's where they're most effective. If they have many traps in a small area, something's more likely to fall into one of them. But with the nature rolls currently on the table, you're not sure.
I say to the rest of the party, I say, well, there's no leader in this group. The guild has put us to a task. I mean, we're a democracy here. Who's interested in taking on the Antlions? And I raise my hand.
So does Flint, because he wants armor upgrade.
I
What does your
didn't.
camel do?
My camel? My camel raises its foot. It's well trained.
All right.
Roll animal handler.
All right, I'm a bard. I have fucking jack of all trades. We have something in here. Let's take a look at
Oh.
animal handling. All right,
Feels
I
bad.
roll a 16.
He doesn't have very good balance, but you do manage to hit him go.
See, camel's leg goes up. Perfect.
All right.
All
right.
Anyone else?
All right, then.
Raise its head.
Belorin,
Fin
Belorin's down.
Longwinned, I believe you've convinced me.
Excellent. Well, glad to have you at my back, Fang. And Belorin, I assume you will, of course, abide by the ruling of the group.
What else can I do?
Yeah, that's a good point. Maybe you guys should, since you have been an established group for a while, maybe you would have some sort of like general, like consensus on these kind of situations already. Like things are democracy. We all go with the vote of the group or something like that. Like what's your general disposition on decisions?
Well, I was very much in character there with manipulating what would best suit me for the
Yeah,
moment.
absolutely.
But I'm if we want to actually reach some general consensus of how we do things, I'm fine with that too.
Yeah, I just mean like you guys, since you
I feel
guys are
like-
experienced, you
feel
guys
like-
would have done this a few times already. Have this, well, what should we do? Should we do this or should we do this? Let's have a vote on it, or however you make decisions.
I would like to suggest, I kind of out of character, but kind of for this, that in social circumstances you would follow my lead, and that I would be willing to let someone else take the lead in some sort of combat situation.
Oh,
Yeah,
you're
so-
saying because
So
you're the super-
let's
Okay.
go back. Let's go back in character time
within,
here.
Within the sort of just a second. I don't want to interrupt you, but as the sort of past established thing, let's say that. How about let's say 3 out of 4 votes is enough to like have the party decide on something. How
Yeah.
about that?
That's what
And
I'm saying.
generally, we let Finn think that he's in charge in social situations.
That's fine.
Sounds good.
All right.
Okay. So I was gonna say
love
let's do a flashback to you
Okay.
sitting at the guild, being like, "Oh, these are my group mates on this mission. They're the only ones who are taking this mission with me right now. All right, let's establish some ground rules here."
All right. Actually, I like that idea. Let's do that flashback real quick.
All right, so
Sitting
you
around a
guys
bar
flashback.
table, we all got a beer in hand. It's like, all right,
I don't drink beer.
everyone
drinking
except
honeyed
you has
water.
a beer.
Roll for like of tea, Fang. How much of a tea guy?
Say what? Roll for what?
Roll for tea connoisseur.
How do we do that?
What sort of role is this?
You can roll int. That's fine. Tea connoisseur, sure.
I roll dexterity?
No,
No.
Wisdom.
Roll.
it's int. It's intelligence. T is intelligence based. I didn't know this till now either, but that is the fact.
I mean, it is now, so there we go. That's a save, but that's fine. So yeah, you think this tea is quite good, but it can use a little more. It could use a little more water. It's a little too strong for your taste. Kind of tastes like sugar. You don't like it that much, but you know that it's tea is better than whatever they're drinking. So.
All right. Well, if we're gonna be working together, continue to work together for some time, we really should establish some ground rules. I mean, let's put it together. I mean, let's talk about experience. I mean, we're part of the Bracers. I mean, this is an organization based on its ability to accomplish things, do things that other organizations can't, to do this from a point of neutrality. There's no way that I want to step on the toes of people who are better at something else than I am, and no way that I want others who are worse at something than I am stepping on my toes when this is my area of expertise. So let's just put it out there. What are we good at, guys? What are your backgrounds? What did you come to? What skills do you bring to this group?
I'm smarter than any of you fools.
I believe it. You look smart. You look real smart. I think.
And I guess I'm stronger than any one of you.
If we need a door broken, or a chair broken, or a head broken, or pretty much anything broken, you're the man, Belorin.
And
Careful, so
feels
it's not your hat.
a tap on his back, like sort of on the other side of him from Fang.
Mm-hmm.
I want to. Okay. Do I? This is a perception related thing. Is someone fucking with me? Is he like tapping the wrong shoulder style thing, or is this just clearly like he's trying to get my attention?
Make a save, Finn. Make a save.
Okay, let's do competing perception from Finn versus stealth from Fang.
Uh-oh.
Oh, you're not 100% sure, but you're pretty sure he's trying to do the shoulder switch.
He's trying to do the shoulder switch. So I don't even turn around. I just say, "What is it, Fang? What do you need?"
Look down at your beer.
I look down at my beer.
Your beer's not there anymore. It's in my hand. And I winked
Is
at
that
you.
true?
Roll sleight of hand.
All right. Is that perception versus sleight of hand?
Yep.
Okay. No, it isn't.
You see him go for the beer as soon as he says that.
He goes for the beer. I slap his hand and I say, "Bad Fang," and I turn and say to him, "Bad Fang, that's my beer. You're
Animal
drinking
abuse.
tea.
And we don't even have the
I will
camels
get
yet.
you a beer. If you want a beer, you can have a beer, but you can't have my beer. You ordered a fucking tea, and a bar, a tea, and you want my beer. I understand why, but this is my beer. Fang, we need to set some boundaries right now, you and I."
I feel like we've established what I bring to the party fairly well at this point. I'm happy to move on.
Oh, I see. I pause for a moment and I say, that's very interesting. This was, in fact, a social point you were trying to make, a point of etiquette in the group. What did this mean to you when you attempted to steal my tea and failed?
No, your beer.
My beer. Excuse me. Your tea.
Yeah, and I
My
didn't
beer.
fail. And Finn looks down at his beer, and it's not there anymore. It's in my hand.
It's not in your hand. You failed to check. You can't just will it.
No, the perception just means that you saw him. He actually did take it. It just means that you saw him take it.
I stopped him taking it.
Oh.
Look, don't make
No,
me
I did it
roll
again while you were getting
Yeah,
sanctimonious
he wants to
there.
do it again.
Sure.
That's the
Go
point.
for it. Yeah.
It's another
Sleight
one?
of hand versus, yeah, another sleight of hand perception.
At this point, I got my fucking hand around this fucker. It's not like it's going anywhere. It's like held onto. He grabbed it the first time.
like,
He's got to be a
cheers.
disadvantage for the second round when I'm
No.
watching it.
You never got him
I'll-
so sanctimonious.
And just as a DM, real quick, I'll go ahead and say, I don't do things also just advantage or disadvantage. I also change my inner head DC for certain things depending on your character's knowledge. So, for example, even though I didn't have Finn roll with advantage here, he did already have the beer, and he was already watching it a little bit. So even though he has
Yeah,
less, he's gonna get it.
I am like a 7 dex stealth guy, and we're at a bar where they're
This is
drinking.
my
I mean,
beer.
it
Do you
doesn't
know how
seem
much
like
I
it would
love
be
beer?
that hard to pull
Are
out
you
the
kidding
shoulder
me?
tap
Do you
and
know how
take
much
his
I
beer.
love beer?
No,
This is
how
not,
much?
This is not going to work.
How much do you love beer? Finn?
Quantifiably, more than I love Fang. Put it
On the
that way.
scale from 1 to 10.
More than he likes tea.
All right. So we've established that you've not stolen my beer. So okay, we're getting off track here. I'll buy you a beer, Fang. I'll buy you a beer. You don't hold on a minute. We're trying to make a point here.
Oh no, you can have it back, and I give it back to him.
You don't have it in the first place. God damn it, Fang. All right. I want to attempt to steal his tea.
Okay, roll sleight of hand versus perception.
What's up with your sleight of hand?
I'm a bard, bitch.
He's a charlatan. That's what he does. Yeah, you're so focused.
I have my left hand on the beer, and he's pulling on that, and I'm talking to him. As that's happening, I snake around with my right hand and grab his tea.
Exactly. Yeah, he's so focused on trying to find an opening in your beer strategy that he just does not see you take the tea.
And as we're talking,
I wink at you and I say, "Enjoy that. It will be better for you."
You don't see him take it.
Yeah, you don't know. As we're talking, and I'm talking, I'm going that whole rant I was just giving about beer versus tea and how much I love beer, etc. I got my left hand on the beer, anchoring it in place. I calmly sipping tea as I'm saying this, and I want to know.
Tea connoisseur.
And I want
you say you hate it.
I do, but I wanted to. I want him to.
And
Does he notice that I'm drinking the tea as well?
Yeah, I would say with a 9, he would notice you once you start drinking it.
Okay.
Like,
and I'll put it down and I'll say, my skills are in misdirection, in communication, in taking the attention from someone and putting it where I would like it as opposed to where they would like it. These are the things that I do well, and these are the things that I bring to the party. I don't ask that you only make this my domain, but I ask that you give me the room to maneuver to the best of my ability in these domains. And I hand you back your tea.
Can we both steal the dwarves' beer now? That's fine.
All right.
I'm also an acrobat, and generally a stealth sort of guy. Get me in charge of scouting, and perhaps I can pull you out of pits if need be. If we're in the desert, somewhere where there might be pits in the future.
This sounds like something that would be extremely useful. I will happily leave that to you. So
I glance over at the grappling hook in my backpack and wink. Again.
I turn to the wizard and the cleric and I say, and for you two, it sounds like Fang and I have come to an agreement. What about what do you guys? What would I best know about you all? What would I best be backing off from? What domains would be your domains?
Like I said, I'm smarter and older than any of you guys. So if we need some research done on something, or something blown up, or anything requiring a further understanding of something than you guys would know, then I'm the dwarf to talk to.
Perfect. And what about you, Belorin?
Well, after watching you for a while, you should be very careful what you are doing. Otherwise, my god might not like that.
Your god doesn't like tea?
He means your ways.
Drinking tea. I turned to Fang and I said, have you ever heard of a god that doesn't like tea?
I don't like the gods.
And then as soon as he says that, I do my best to bodily withdraw from the conversation. Not overtly, I don't want to make it clear but I want to clear a path for those two to butt heads without being in the middle of it.
Okay. Luckily for you, I didn't roll a nat 1 for you, Fang, so you did not get smited right there.
By the gods.
You're alright.
Alright.
Oh, there's a rule that the gods just smite you down for saying something like that. That's
So here's something that would be common knowledge. And this is common knowledge for everyone because he's one of the most popular gods. Jupiter in general, he is a very lawful god, and he is very known to strike down people he doesn't like. So, like, he's the god of
How does that
lightning.
lawful?
Well, because he believes in order in general. So
Like
it's just
law,
like
justice.
yeah, he's the god of lightning, law, and justice. So very occasionally he'll smite someone.
But he understands why I don't like him, right?
Well,
Like, he gets my background.
well, you see, that's why it was only a nat 1. If he got a nat 1, then he was in a bad
You
mood.
only had a
so.
you had a 5%er to be screwed there. You're good. Alright. Okay, so
Flint looks to the audience and just wonders to himself when this flashback will be over.
well, it's over right now because right now what we're gonna do is I think we got the rough estimate from that. It sounds like we're gonna attempt to do kind of what we were suggesting, which is majority rules. We're equals in this party. We hopefully to some degree have some sense of the others' domains, although it's clear that some people will be pushing those boundaries and that we will ride them into the desert until they stop. But for now, we need to take a quick little break, cut the part here. thank you very much for watching, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the intro to Season 3 of D&D. And we'll see you guys in just a minute. Thanks for watching, guys.